Hello everyone. I have a bit of a special video today. I don't think I've posted a video like this before. I am going to recap all four of my games from the Over the Board tournament I played in yesterday. As part of the Finn Chess Tournament here in upstate New York. Yeah, I participated in one a couple weeks ago, but I didn't post that one because some of my chess notation was not correct. But I made sure to take perfect notation this time. And I have four games for you guys, so I'm excited to get into it. The time control is 25-minute games with 5-second delay. So if you don't know what that means, you and your opponent each have 25 minutes. But every time like I hit the clock, my opponent's clock won't start going down up until like 5 seconds, if that makes sense. So it'll wait 5 seconds and then it'll start going down. I really, really like that time control, to be honest. It suits the way I play pretty well. Increment is always better for like higher rated games. But yeah, so let's get right into it. And I'm just going to present them in the order that they were done, game 1, 2, 3, and 4. This was the first game. I was white. I have a provisional rating of 1191. Again, I participated in one a couple weeks ago. My record was I won the first game, lost the second game, and then I drew the the third and fourth games. Both games I drew, I was in better positions, but I couldn't convert, and they liquidated down to a draw, annoyingly. But yeah, so that's why I have 1191. And let's get right into it. So my opponent name is John. He's a 676 rated player. And I got the white pieces, so you guys know I am an e4 player. E4, e5, and I wanted to go for a Italian. And I actually wrote down, so yeah, his move after this was h6, which I knew was not a good move. So I wanted to find ways to kind of punish this as soon as possible. So got my knight out, his bishop out, and let me just say this now. If you guys don't know my chess.com rating, I'm around 1750, which I think is pretty good, but over the board vision is just completely different than like chess.com vision. So there's a neat trick that you can do in these kind of positions where it looks like they're guarding the pawn well, but then you can fork the bishop and the knight, and then usually they bring the bishop back, you take the knight, and bam, bam. For some reason, I forgot that my bishop was here, and I pushed, and I did this, which obviously chess.com is like, what the heck are you doing? That's a blunder. I pushed this, and that's even more of a blunder now because he can simply take this. But luckily my opponent missed that. He dropped his bishop back, and I took this and had a winning position out of the opening. Again, this is what I like. If this was chess.com, I wouldn't have done that move. If that makes sense, like you don't do that when your bishop is right here and they can just capture a free bishop. They would be up multiple pieces. So yeah, that wasn't very good by me. But luckily they didn't see it. They pushed their bishop back. I have some doubled pawns here, but I have some nice space control. His knight can't get out naturally. So what he does is he develops it there. So what I do here is I bring my I bring my queen here. The best move is actually queen h5 to kind of pressure this pawn. I was looking at this pawn, and all I calculated was, okay, he can't push this because, yeah, it's hitting this, but then I just simply take this, and he can come here, but then I take this, and yeah, his rook will be able to take this, but it's fine. I'm up some pieces there. What I did not calculate was that he could do this. He could attack my bishop. It's still winning for me going down that exact same line, so we basically go down that line where I take the pawn, he moves his rook there, I take this, and he takes my... what's actually the best move here? I guess it's to come where? I think it's here, actually. Yeah, I'm actually not sure what the best move is in that position, but I take that pawn. So we have equal material. I have 3 pawns for for my bishop. So yeah, that's how that went. And so I bring my bishop there to kind of block the vision of his rook, as well as to pressure this pressure this knight to pin it. He brings his queen here, trying some of this stuff, it's not immediate checkmate, I don't believe, but here's another blunder that I did, is I brought my queen here, trying to protect this piece, this pawn here, but try and see if you can figure out what the winning move for black is here. He can simply just take this bishop. Because if I take this, then he has this, and then I come here. He has this move, threatening mate in 1, threatening my queen. Obviously, I did not see that. My opponent did not see that. So what ended up happening was I moved my queen here. He moved his bishop here to protect this. And in this situation, I actually tried castling long, and my opponent had to be like, you can't do that, bud. You can't castle through check. And I was like, oh wait, yeah, sorry about that. So I brought my rook here, and it's drawn here because for this whole line where it takes, 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 takes. If you can visualize all that, I guess I could play it all out, but this line and then this, and it's equal material. Actually, they're up a pawn, and they're going to be up basically another pawn in a hot second. So yeah, that line did not happen. Luckily, my opponent did not see all that. I did this. He took that piece. I took his queen. He took that pawn. I dropped my rook back to protect this piece because it's being hit twice. And then he brought his bishop here, which I always noticed that his rook was defending this square very nicely with this knight. So I brought my queen there, and he resigned. It's funny. He like stuck his hand out. He's like, oh, it's checkmate. Good game. But it's actually not checkmate. He does have to sack his knight, but then he can bring his bishop back. I think he thought it's just mate here, but he has two moves. He can do this or he can do this. If he brings his queen here, then I just take the free rook. But if he brings his bishop back, then there's still a game here. But none of that happened. Obviously, this is just completely winning. Like, you know, I could basically do anything I want here. I'm up 8 points of material. I can go for this pawn. I can basically do anything. So yeah, that was the very first game. I promise the games after this get in much higher quality. I'm very, very new to over the board chess, and so my vision is just not very good. This was like a proper 500, maybe not 500 rated game, but like 800 rated game. Like if it was played on chess.com, it was not very good. When I go to the review, it believes I was what did it think I was? It believed, yeah, we played with 58. They thought we were a bunch of 7 and 600s, which hurts a little bit because I am literally 1700 on chess.com. But yeah, that was the very first game. Got a win, which felt very good. Let's go into the second game. In this game, I played as black. I played against this guy named Scott. Very, very nice older gentleman. He was rated 1621, so highest person I've ever played against over the board. The people I played in a couple weeks ago were nowhere near 1600. Because I had no rating whatsoever because it was my first tournament ever. So I was playing people who also had no rating or people who were basically sub 1,000 or maybe just barely over 1,000. So I was a little bit nervous going into this game, but I'm always up for the challenge. So he does a Ruy Lopez, which is actually something that I play a lot. And I told him this after the game. So I played a Berlin, and he brought his queen here, which I knew was not right. I knew that is not a good move. I've never seen that move before. I've played the Ruy for a couple of years now, and I don't think I've ever played this. I've never seen anybody else play it, but I guess the idea is just to continue to protect this pawn, but I don't see why you would just not do one of these sort of moves. So I played this move, which is the best move. He does this, which is very, very thematic in the Ruy Lopez. I protect this pawn further, and then he pushes his h3 pawn so as to not allow my bishop to get out. And luckily, we're equal right now. We're not castled just yet. It looks like black is just barely up, but that's just fully equal. I bring my bishop here to protect. He castles. I push this pawn. He takes his bishop back. I push this pawn as well. He pushes it back, and then I castle. And this was, so out of the opening, black is just, I've found a way to equalize, which is very nice. Got some nice control of the center. My pieces are pretty well developed. I'll probably be bringing my queen here, getting my rooks connected. But then my opponent played this. He lashed out d4, which I was kind of confused by. After like a minute, I just noticed I have 1, 2, 3 attackers on that, and he only has 1, 2 defenders. So I play all the best moves. I just simply capture, and now I'm up a pawn. I'm up a pawn in the opening against somebody who's the highest rated I've ever played against over the board. So I'm a little bit nervous, but again, this is the sort of game on chess.com that I think I just wouldn't even feel nervous about, but over the board tournaments are so different. So yeah, he pins my knight, I hit it, he goes back, I push my rook to attack this piece, and he blunders again. He brings his bishop here to add further protection, but I always noticed this bishop was eyeing up this pawn. If the queen ever lost sight of it, I would be able to capture, which is what I did. He pushed his knight to d2, I took the rook, took back, So I guess I'll just summarize right now. I'm up 4 points of material. Yeah, there's this annoying pin, but I can easily just kind of get out of it if I need to. I'm up 4 pawns. These pawns are going to be amazing in the end game. And so, yeah, this is just a perfect position for me. This is not a very good move. The engine likes c5 here, which after the game, I was analyzing it, just looking at my notation, and I knew c5 was a much better move, just to continue to grab space, restrict some of his pieces from coming out in this way. Yeah, and then if I really do want to play this move, I can here instead of just blocking my own pawn. So yeah, instead I bring my bishop here to continue attacking that piece. He defends it with f3, which I feel like is a bit of an ugly move. Just the dark squares around his king are super weak. I don't have a dark squared bishop to exploit that, but I do have a queen, which I bring out. He brings his queen here. I bring my queen here, kind of just a one move threat, just to kind of attack his rook, kind of centralize my queen a little bit. But also I'm thinking about, because if he does move his rook, which is what he ends up doing, he moves it here. I was going to lash out with g5, which the engine says is the best move. The engine's been telling me to push g5 for many, many moves at this point, but I just don't do it because it feels very weakening. He can start, moving his pieces this way, and it gets to be a little bit scary. So I didn't do that. Instead, I centralized my rook. He pushed this pawn, which I also felt was which I felt like was a very weird move. I guess if we look at the analysis, yeah, I did the best move, which was to give a check. He brings his bishop back, hitting it. I come here, and this is where I started to play, I think, pretty poorly. As you can see, the evaluation is at +2, or sorry, -2. Earlier was like -3, -4, but again, I'm slightly nervous. This is only my second ever over the board tournament. So I bring, he hits this. I come back. He hits my queen with his knight, which the engine clearly sees as a blunder. It just wants me to take that queen. Like, that move literally doubled my evaluation, which is kind of crazy to think, because I thought it was a pretty good move, because what I thought he was setting up was if I take this, he can bring his rook here. This is what I calculated, and I was just a bit too scared of this position because I just didn't know how I was getting out. He'd be able to win this pawn back, so what's the line that it wants? It wants this, this, and this. Okay, see, I just did not calculate that far. I simply was like, I'm not taking that pawn. That's a poison pawn. So I moved my queen here. He dropped his knight back, perhaps maybe wanting a bit of a draw, and also he's hitting my queen. So I have to do this, which is the best move. I know you guys can't see the engine line, but it is the best move to take with the bishop, counterattack the queen. He takes this, I take that, and we are, I wanted to liquidate down again to a fully just winning endgame, but of course he did not want to. So then I do this move, and I'm trying to remember some of my other moves. Yeah, I give another check, but this time I knew he was going to bring his bishop back, but now I press c5, which is the best move. He brings his queen here. I put my queen on. I don't really remember why I wanted to put it on the square. I think there might be situations where I want to push this, and he might be able to take, so I don't know. He pins my knight again for like the 4th time this game. It was becoming very, very annoying. So I bring my rook here, and all I calculated was if he does this, then I have this. That's all I calculated. At this point, we both have he has like 4 minutes on the clock, and I have about 10. So I started to drain a lot of my clock trying to just make sure I was playing all the best moves, but he did not do that. Instead, he played the best move, which is attacking my rook. And I knew if I just simply dropped back, he'd be able to take, do this, do this, do this. And this is all winning for him. He's just winning. Even though I'm up 5 points of material, he's able to, what's my best move is to do this, which is just like, I find that to be unfindable. The whole point of it is if I try and defend, his best move is rook f3, which is just such a scary move to see. I have no checks. I can't really do anything. I'm getting destroyed here. So I didn't really want to go for any of that. So when I saw that, when I saw all of that, I played the best move, which is to bring my queen here, sack the rook, sack the exchange, do this, and obviously I can't take this piece, and then I play a losing move. Again, in my head, I'm just like, I'm winning, I know I'm winning, I just need to liquidate it down to a draw, to an endgame. So I do, okay, so I did this move first, he hits my pawn, which this is the best move, this is then the best move, and what I should have done was go queen c2. Just get in, try and be annoying, but instead I played this move, which you can see the evaluation jumping up in white's favor because he simply just takes, and takes, and takes, and he's just winning. He's winning here. So this is the line that happened. He brings his rook back. I come here. He does this. I give a check. He comes here. I do this. And at this point, we stop taking. I'm still taking notation. He stopped because he's down a lot on the time. He has less than a minute. I have less than 5. And the rule is if you have under 5 minutes, you don't have to take any more notation. You don't have to write down your moves anymore. So this is where I stopped taking notation. But here's the thing, right? I fully cannot remember the sequence of moves that happened, but basically what happened was my opponent flagged. I had 2 seconds on the clock. He had 10 seconds. It was also a bit nerve-wracking because there was like 6 or 7 people watching at this point because all the other games had finished. So there were multiple people watching. I'm getting flustered. So obviously I can't push this pawn because I hang my knight. So I think what I ended up doing was he came here. I pushed this pawn. He took, and I just dropped my knight back. I just tried being annoying. He came here. Or no, I don't think I brought my knight there because I remember pushing this pawn. Yeah, I pushed this pawn. He came here. I did this. He took. I can't really remember all of the moves, but nonetheless, 2 of my pawns got up here and my queen, and there was still all my knight as well as his bishop and rook, but basically he just flagged. So I won that game quite, I don't know if I'd say undeservedly, but I deserved to win it for about 90% of the game, and this is going to be something you see in some of my other games. I'm just winning for a lot of the game, but I just don't know how to convert. I don't know how to force trades. I don't know how to get my pieces in good positions. I allow way too much counterplay. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to get the win. And he was very, very nice after the game. He was like, what a good game, yada, yada. So yeah, that was game 2. I'm now 2 out of 2, which feels very, very good. Again, I don't really feel like I deserve to win this game, but if you flag your opponent, it's a legitimate win, So yeah. Let's go to the third game. This one is against someone named Anjan. He was rated 867. We were the only 2 people so far with 2 out of 2. I think that's why we got paired up with one another. Very, very nice kid. He was pretty young. And I got the white pieces. So this time I was like, let me play a scotch. I play the scotch a lot. And then he played F6, which is a terrible move, Yeah, I was trying to see if, for those of you who know what the daimyo defense is. This is the daimyo defense, and this is just fully winning for white because of this literally forced line where you capture the rook in the corner. That's all basically forced. It's something that a lot of people know. So when I saw this move order, I was like, I was trying to find ways to do the same kind of trick where I sack, he comes here, I give this check, but then he can just drop back or drop here, and I'm cooked. So I didn't go for any of that. I just simply took, which is the best move. He took. I developed my bishop. He developed his knight. I don't know why the engine doesn't really like this move, to be honest, because I kind of like it. He can't take this. I guess if he does this, then I have to take, which, funny enough, he does do, and I don't see, and he doesn't see either, because if he pushed this, I come back here, he can just take this pawn again. It's crazy that someone like me, who I think I'm pretty good at chess, just is blundering these like really basic moves over the board. I think with time, I'll just have to get better at over the board chess, play more tournaments, maybe get some of my nerves down. And yeah. So then I develop my knight. He pushes this. I push h3 so that he doesn't pin me. He plays this move, which is obviously the engine does not like that because I can jump my knight in, hitting the queen with tempo and doubling up on this knight. Of course, he can't take because then he loses his queen. So he drops back, which is the best move. I play this move, which the engine does not like. It says it's a mistake, which I understand why it's a mistake, because then he can do this, which is what my opponent did end up doing in the game, which I then played the best move. I knew all of this. I saw this because I was like, if I do this and he takes this pawn, he's thinking, okay, it's a fair trade of queens, yada, yada. Maybe take this. He, takes this knight, whatever. But I calculated one bit further and I pushed my queen here, which is the best move. Because if he comes back here, then I'm giving checks, and his king can't castle, and it's basically mating. It's basically mating. So what he does is he pushes it back, which in this situation, everything in me was telling me, just give this check. Just give this check. He has to move here, here, here. Well, he can't move here, but He's going to move here or here. Oh my God, if I could draw arrows. And it's just winning. His king isn't castled, his bishop is stuck. This is obviously fully winning. What I end up doing is slightly different. Is I give this check first, which the engine does not like. Again, it's still winning. I'm up 8.3 according to the computer. This makes it go down to 5.4. When you're playing a game like this, I'm not really thinking about the evaluation like that. I'm just like, okay, this is winning. I know this is maybe not the best move, but it's winning. I just wanted to open up the king more. Now he's just no protection around him. I give this check. He comes here. And at this point, I am way down on the clock. For some reason, or not in this moment, but I spend like 7-8 minutes trying to figure out what's the mating sequence. I just simply do not see the mating sequence. Like if I come here, then he just comes back. He's now hitting me. I guess I could take this, but then I just have no idea what the mate is. So what I end up doing is not the correct move. What is the, let me see what the evaluation says is the best move. So it wants to give this check. Excuse me, which again, I'm just like, why that check as opposed to this check? I don't know. Who knows how engines think? So what I end up doing is giving this check, and I didn't see that he could block with his knight. That was not something I saw. So I take with the queen, which again is not a good move. I should just bring this other piece in, but I was just kind of worried about this move. I just didn't know what I would do in that situation. What would I do actually? Oh, just take it with the free. Okay, well that's kind of stupid of me. Anyway, okay, I clearly was a bit, I knew I was winning. I knew I was going to win the game, but I just was a bit flustered. I couldn't find the mate. So what I ended up doing was taking with the queen. He did this move, which I immediately noticed was mate in 2. Within like 2 seconds, I noticed it was mate in 2. You take the pawn, he has to come here, and it's just checkmate. So a bit of a weird game. Obviously, it's another win. I'm 3 out of 3. I'm feeling very, very good. But I'm still just kind of annoyed at myself because after the second game, I was like, just play a positional game. That's what I was telling myself after the second game. Just play a positional game. I think my positional play is pretty good. If you just get into a positional game where you can start developing your pieces, get your pieces into good squares, I'm not going to say I'm going to win, but because I'm so low rated, I'm generally playing against other people who are pretty low rated, and it's obviously I'm not 1100. I'm up 1700 on chess.com. Over the board, it's the rating does not match up whatsoever. Over the board rating isn't just how good you are at chess; it's also like your mental rating, if that also makes sense. So, yeah, I'm happy with the win. Happy that I could get 3 out of 3. I was a little bit annoyed that I couldn't figure out a quicker mate. Like the mate was handed to me. If he doesn't play this move, I still have to figure it out. I'm only up 3.2, which is kind of crazy to me. Like everything is equal, but his king is it's stranded. I could even castle here if I really wanted to. So yeah, let's get into the fourth game, the fourth and final game against Diksha, another very young person. All three of so the first person I played was similar age to me. I want to say 20s, maybe early 30s. Second person I played was someone who was maybe 40s, 50s. I'm not sure how old he was. And then the past two people now were very young kids. And she was very, very sweet. Funny enough, me and her actually played each other in the very first over-the-board tournament I did a couple of weeks ago. That game was also the fourth game. I was winning in that game, which you'll see. I'm just going to explain it now. I was winning in this game as well. But the very first game, a couple weeks ago, I just blundered into a draw, and we ended up drawing, annoyingly. And it was funny, as we were walking to the table, she's like, "I'm going to play a London." And I was like, oh God, you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, if you're new here or if you're a sub. I do not like playing against d4. I'm not very good at it, I don't think. And she was like, "I'm going to play the London. Do you play the London?" I was like, "No, I'm strictly an e4 player." Maybe I shouldn't be telling my opponent this, but she's a little girl. We're just, at this point, I'm 3 out of 3. I'm not super annoyed if I end up drawing this game or something, because I know I can beat her, but let's just get into the game. So we play a bunch of just very basic moves. The engine doesn't like this move, but again, it feels very natural to me. He plays that, I do this. I just start pushing some pawns, just kind of defending my center a little bit. Again, it's basically equal at this point. I won't commentate too much on the opening moves. I want to get my my queen out of this pen. Brings her bishop back, which I thought was just very weird. I was like, okay, that's a bit of a weird, I just didn't understand this. I played this move just because I was like, I don't really know what to do. I don't want to immediately castle because maybe she castles long and just starts shoving her pawns forward. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what she does. Push this pawn, just kind of gain space. She also pushes that pawn. Then I do this, which the engine also does not like. It's funny, like if we were to play a couple of moves or I castled and did whatever, Rook c8 is just a perfectly fine move to kind of, I'm threatening this pawn push, which is not really like a threat, but it kind of is. Wait, hold on, if they just do something random, say they castle here, I wanted to see if this is a threat. I guess not really, because for some reason in my mind, I was like, maybe there's a way for me to win the queen if I sack something and the rook is lined up. Anyway, that's not what ended up happening. Oops, let's go back here. So she centralizes her knight, attacking my knight as well as my bishop. So I take the knight, she takes it back. I thought she was going to take with the pawn. I initially thought she was going to take with the pawn, then I do this. But I guess looking back now, I'm just doubling up on this piece. So I could see why she didn't end up doing that. She took with the bishop, and I'm now worried that my bishop is going to get trapped. So I play the best move, which is to bring the bishop back. She does this move. And so at this point, I'm noticing this battery. I don't really think there's any like checkmating ideas or anything. So I'm not too worried about that, but I can see I can win a pawn. So I take, and take, which the engine does not like. I believe it doesn't like it because of castles. Yeah, just castles, and white is probably going to get cooked somehow. Yeah, I have to bring this is what I thought was going to happen. Castle, bring my my queen back here. He hits this, and then I just do this, and I'm feeling fine. I'm up a pawn. My queen is kind of offside. It's just a little bit in a weird place. But luckily, that did not happen. Oopsies. Oh, gosh. Oh, no. Sorry about that. Let me find the game again. Sorry, workshopping this. So I'm in the position of black. Let me find all the moves again. So bam, 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 and I take, and take. What she ends up doing was this move, which I also calculated was probably fine for me. So I do this. She lashes out here, which I knew was not a good move. Everything in me was like, that is not the right move. Her king is in the middle. My king's in the middle too, but I can easily castle. So what I end up doing is just castling here, because even if she does this, then I come here. You know, she can take, and I'm 0.7. Her pawn is a little bit offside. She's not castled. Her king is in the middle. Yeah, she can start storming some pawns, and it can look a little bit scary, but I personally wasn't scared of that. That is not what ended up happening. She brings her queen back here, which I anticipate is trying to trap my queen. I don't know how she's going to trap my queen, but everything in me was a bit scared. For some reason in the game, I just did not notice I had this square available to me. I kept telling myself, oh, all these squares are cut off because this bishop and these pawns. I just have this free square. Like, again, my board vision, the main theme of like this entire tournament and my over the board tournament so far is just my board vision is just not very good. My board vision is not very good. So I do this, which is just a dumb move because I'm like, okay, I'm hitting this, opening up an attack on the bishop. She plays the best sequence of moves, which is take the bishop, take the knight, and then castle. I thought she was going to take this, at which point I would take this, and then she would take this. And I don't know. She did not end up doing that. I lashed out with f5, which is not a good move. I was just telling myself, you know what? This is basically an endgame at this point. Now my queen has ample place to come back. I don't need to worry about getting trapped or anything because it's basically just a bunch of heavy pieces on the board. But then she did this move, which kind of surprised me, and it kind of scared me because now I only have this move available to my queen to get back. And so I'm obviously in check, so I have to bring the king here. I was kind of annoyed at myself for not bringing the queen here, because if she does some like random move, then I can take, and potentially like get in. This was kind of what I was slightly calculating, but obviously the engine hates it. Okay, yeah, I can see why the engine hates it actually. Again, my board vision is not very good. So luckily I did not go down any line like that. So I brought my king back here. She plays this move, which I thought was very weird, but looking back, it's actually such a strong move because now my queen has nowhere to go back. I can't take this pawn. I can't take this pawn. She's obviously not threatening this because I can just simply take. So I bring my rook to the open file. She does the same. I take, and this is the critical position. I'm going to tell you right now, the game ends in just about a couple moves. I sat at this position for like 10 minutes because I kept telling myself, these are two free pawns. They're just two free pawns. But I kept telling myself, If I take either of these pawns, she's going to come down here, and it's just going to, like, say I do this. You see what I mean? It's like, maybe there was a quicker mate if she came down here. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, that's, obviously she wasn't going to do that. It's just mate. And I kept telling myself, I have no, like, checks, because she can come here, and this is, like, if I do something like this, potentially going here, it's just checkmating. She's just checkmating me, I believe. Yeah, I guess she has to be careful, but anyway. So I keep telling myself, okay, I cannot take either of these pawns because she's going to come down here and checkmate me. So all that I calculated was bringing my rook up. Because if I was like, okay, if she comes down here, then I can take, and, you know, maybe I'm getting away somehow. Maybe I can start giving some checks, whatever. What I did not calculate was that she does not have to take. She can give me a check. I come here, which is my only move, and she gives me this check, which is the best move. And I play queen f8, blundering mate in 1. When she said checkmate, I literally just started bursting out laughing. I was just like, again, another game where I'm winning throughout most of the game. She's just flinging her pawns forward. It's not like she's playing poorly, but I know the evaluation is slightly in my favor. But yeah, I just for some reason in my mind, when she did that and I came here, for some reason in my mind, I was thinking she was going to do this. Or sorry, no, what did I think she was going to do? I thought she was going to maybe do this or something. I don't know. Even this is still, like, amazing. Like, I don't know. So, yeah. Excuse me. I end up losing my very last game, which, when I was driving back home, it's about a 20-minute drive for me to the place. I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed, which is, like, stupid because it's like I won 3 games and I lost 1. I should really be happy with the 3 wins, but, you know, that's just not how being human works. I feel like if 20 good things happen but 1 bad thing happens, your mind is just going to focus on that 1 bad thing, even though there's so many other better things that happen. So yeah, I blundered mate in 1, which is, like, so funny as, like, again, I'm not a 1200. I'm a 1700 rated player. I should be able to see mate in 1. I just did not see that she had checkmate in the corner. So yeah. But that was the entire tournament. I went through those games pretty quickly. I thought it was going to take a little bit longer. I didn't analyze these games beforehand. I will spend some time later on analyzing the games just to see if there were any tricks that I missed or any, like, better moves that I could have made. I have a pretty good understanding of all of the games and what I did right and what I did wrong. I do think I can play at a much, much higher level than what I displayed in this tournament. I just think, again, my nerves kind of got to me. This is only the 2nd tournament I've ever done. I've played chess for a couple of years now, but all online. Just everything was online. So, you know, it's the board just looks so different when it's just like a physical board in front of you and there's another person in front of you instead of just, like, behind a screen. And so it was, yeah, definitely a learning experience. My rating is going to go up. I did get an email yesterday that it went up to, like, 1200 something, which is fantastic. I can now start competing in, because this one is actually a little bit different. The way the tournament was, the way it worked was there was, like, an over 1700 pool, 1200 to 1700, and then 1200 and under. So now I'm eligible to play against people who are higher rated, which is going to be kind of nice because I feel like those games will be a bit more tempered, a lot less sporadic and crazy. Like some of my, my first game, for example, the computer literally thought I was 700. So not trying to have games like that anymore. And yeah, I think that's all I have. I am happy with my performance. I will be performing these. I'm very, very lucky. I live in an area where I can go to a tournament 20 minutes away. It's free. And they provide snacks and, drinks and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think I'll be performing in many more of these, hopefully over the next couple of weeks and months. I am trying to hit a tentative goal of hit 1,500 by the end of the year over the board. I don't know how realistic that is because, again, I don't really have a frame of reference on, like, 1,500 over the board. What does that really equate to on chess.com? Like, is that 1,700, 2,000? Like, I just don't know. I was watching these 2 other guys play over the board, and one of them was 2,100 and the other one was 1,900. I was watching some of their moves and I was like, I would never be able to find half of these moves, like not even close. So I'm like well off it, to be honest. So yeah, I think, very, very good learning experience. And it really, really just kind of encourages me to just get better at openings, middle games, end games, to improve not over my chess.com performance, but also my over the board tournament performance. So Yeah, if you did like this video and any of my other videos, feel free to subscribe. I feel like I've said this a lot in my recent videos. I hate begging, but I am trying to hit 50 subscribers by the by the beginning of May, around my birthday. And I'm currently at just sub 30, I think like 28 or 29 or something. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you do like the content, it would be very much appreciated. And I will see you guys next time with a Journey to 2000 video. Take care.